Alright everybody, so it's almost Air Max Day, and in traditional Nike fashion, they typically drop a new Air Max sneaker. And well, this year's no different. So today we're taking a look at the brand new Nike Air Max DN8. Let's get into it. What's going on, everybody? It's Mike from the Sneaker History Podcast, and we are back with another video. Guys, thank you so much for joining. Really do appreciate you guys. And today, we're talking Air Max, one of my favorite line of sneakers, guys. And with it almost being Air Max Day, we gotta talk about the new one that Nike's brought it to us, and that's gonna be the Nike Air Max DN8. Now, this one is actually sent over by the good folks over at JD Sports. So JD Sports, Trey, I appreciate you guys because I definitely have some thoughts on this sneaker. Now, if you didn't notice, the DN8 is going to be a direct evolution of last year's Nike DN. Now, both are going to utilize that dynamic air, and that's going to be the tube setup. And we're going to talk about that in a minute. But I'll tell you this. With both of these sneakers, this really tested my thought about being a sneakerhead. Because it's something I tell you guys all the time, and it's like, break out of your bubble. No pun intended when we're talking about Air Max, but break out of your bubble and try something different. And I'm so used to certain Air Max sneakers, my Air Max Pluses, my 95, 97s, my 1s, and I'm okay with those. I don't really stray from them too far. And as we talk about the new models, I honestly wasn't 100% impressed by either of these when I first saw them. But when we talk about the DN, Olympics came around. And if you guys already know, I've already told you, I'm a sucker for Olympic colorways. And when I saw this one, I was like, okay, I'm willing to try it because of the color. And I'm glad I did because really impressed by the shoe. Looks good on foot, actually really comfortable. And yeah, I'm glad I gave it a chance because a lot of times I know a lot of us say, nope, it's not the thing I know, so I don't want to try it. Don't get boxed into that, or don't get stuck in that box, I should say. And you guys know me, I review tons of different things, and I'm typically not that way, but with my Air Maxes, I'm just kind of like closed off for certain models that I've just grown to like over the years. But that's gonna be the same thing with this Nike DN8, because just like the DN, when I saw it, it wasn't something on my radar. I've kind of, know which Air Maxes I'll typically buy. And with this one being sent over, really, it forced me out of that bubble because I had to try them. I couldn't just look at them and just say, okay, thanks, and not wear them. I want to be able to give a good opinion. I want to be able to give you guys how I feel about the shoes so that way you kind of get an idea before you buy them. Now, with this sneaker, it is something that, again, was a pleasant surprise. Now, is it the best Air Max sneaker? Not even close. There's still better Air Max sneakers out there. Is it cool? I think it is. I think it actually, I love the way they took more of a futuristic approach with this one. Fantastic. I think it came out well. But I just like that I was able to give it a try, and I think it's a very good shoe. Like, overall, it is a great shoe. And let's get into it, and I'll break it down as we talk about it. So first off, let's go with the namesake. The DN, the dynamic air, is going to be set up in these tubes, or just tubular air bubbles that we're going to see here. Now, what's really cool, if I read this correctly, is that each bubble has its own pressure. So nothing we're strangers to. So things like the Air Max Plus, the Air Max 95, they have different PSI in different sections. But what makes this a little bit more, well, creative or extensive, I should say, there's 8 different bubbles here. 8 different units that they went ahead and tuned or made them, like they pressurized them precisely to give you a better transition while walking, give you the most comfort. And that's pretty cool, I'll tell you this. Walking in this sneaker, I thought I was gonna need some break-in time because I was a little scared, a little timid because this gave me Vapor Max vibes. And if I've never told you guys, I despise the Vapor Max. I feel like I was walking in a cleat. But this one does not give you that because as you see the separation of these air bubbles, you can see it's really, look at the outsole. You see, guys, it is very round and very like rigid. Like you think it's very, it's nothing like, there's not a straight line. There's basically different sections to each piece. So when I saw that, I thought Vapor Max immediately. I was like, I'm not gonna like this. It does not feel like that whatsoever. Whatever they did here made sure that it is a very smooth ride. So I will give the DN8 definitely an A+ in comfort. Super comfortable. Again, didn't require like break-in time, surprisingly. But I think that's because one of the big differences you see with the DN8 compared to the DN is going to be how the air bubbles or the tubes are actually housed. So first thing you'll notice is that, look at the DN, it is going to have, let me see if I can focus better, there we go. So you see how it's in the middle of the foam here. There's foam on either side, but with the DN8, look at this. So we're gonna go We got their foam, which is gonna be just it's an unnamed foam, just whatever typical foam they use. So that's gonna be what your foot sits on. But then right under that's gonna be your tubes. And that's gonna have direct contact with the outsole, making sure that you're getting the most comfort. There's nothing stopping you from getting that impact protection from the ground as you're stepping. Really cool idea. And again, I liked how they didn't put those plastic pieces at the bottom, just like they did the Vapor Max, because it just felt like I was clanking around. Wasn't like it was a rigid shoe. It wasn't giving me any kind of flexibility. I got flexibility out of this one, and it's a nice shoe to throw on, like if I'm going out to the grocery store, running errands with my family. Great shoe to have on foot. Now, is this something I would go run in? Absolutely not. I would not run in this shoe at all, but I don't think that's the purpose of this sneaker. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Nike made this sneaker as more of a walking sneaker or a everyday sneaker. Now, one of my fears with this sneaker is because there is no foam between the air bubbles and the outsole, so that if I step on like a little nail or something, I won't have that little bit of barrier between that item and my air bubble, which will pop it immediately. Now you'll see that the outsole is not super thin, so I would assume it would take a lot of effort to get through, at least I'm hoping so, but still there's nothing between that bubble and the outsole, so if something goes in, if it's long enough, it's popping that bubble immediately. I mean, that's kind of a risky run wearing Air Max sneakers to begin with. I know, trust me, we've all popped the air bubble at some point, but it's just kind of more apparent to me with this setup. But again, just I guess watch where you walk, at least when you can. That's what I'm gonna do. But again, I get the idea, just kind of that direct contact to make sure you're getting the most compression, making sure you're getting the most comfort by utilizing those dynamic air tubes. Now again, they're gonna sit right on top of a foam, so your foot's gonna hit the foam first, and then everything else goes to the air bubble. Now this sneaker does something a little different than the DN. So if we look at the DN again, I'm sorry, I'm flip-flopping between the two. You see this one's very like layered. A lot of things going on here. You got a lot of different materials, like the rubber pieces up top. You're gonna have the fuse. You're gonna have this really high arching like a lateral containment and medial containment. This sneaker kind of gets away from that. This goes sleek. You guys see this is a very, very sleek. And the design on it, was it the Air Max 96? Do you guys kind of get that same look from these? Maybe it's just me. But anyway, it is going to be all mesh. The whole sneaker's mesh. The majority of it is going to be an engineered mesh. So you're going to see on top, it's going to be really closed off, really tight mesh here. But Nike realizes, at least I'm sure they do, that engineered mesh is not very breathable. So what they did to make sure the sneaker does have the durability with the engineered mesh as the majority, they make sure to give you that breathability on the side. So in those streaks or those slits, whatever you want to call them, they're going to be covered in fuse, but the opening is going to be an open mesh. You guys see that? So that way you get breathability. So I like that. They kept it. They say, you know what? Let's go make this shoe as comfortable as possible, which I feel like that was the theme. Let's go with comfort, but kind of give you this really aggressive look at the same time, which is cool because a lot of sneakers now with the Y2K trend, a lot of these shoes are more aggressive. So they really, I feel like they want the more aggressive look for just that casual everyday shoe, which I like it. Now you're gonna have the toe cap here is gonna be done up in a very thick fuse, almost kind of rubberized, feels like, in black, to make sure that you have protection. Just when you're walking, nothing, when you drag your foot, nothing's going to catch on and snag that toe box. You're gonna have that there. And when it comes to the laces, it's gonna be fused as well, but it's kind of covered in this felt-like material. And that's gonna give us a couple different variations of eyelets we're gonna see. So of course you have your ribbon eyelet here that's gonna be reflective. You're also gonna have a couple of the quick lace style, which is gonna just really close in, really give you some more stability, because there's not gonna have like fly knit or anything really giving you lateral containment. So the way they have it set up, if you see, you got these two here to lock you down, forefront of the forefoot area. Wow, I couldn't get that out. And then of course you get to the top of the foot as well. You're gonna get some lock down there, so you get a little bit of containment, which also brings us to the point of, I don't think these are really a workout shoe or for like really hardcore physical activity. You're gonna have your typical oval laces you see in the more athletic style sneakers, and then your tongue is gonna be a closed mesh, really tightly knit mesh with the Air Max branding that's gonna be done up, there you go, and black leathering on, it's sitting on top of a reflective oval there. And your inside, very simple, is gonna be, you're gonna get black sock liner, you're gonna get a black insole, and this insole is actual garbage. This may be the worst insole I've seen in a long time. I guess, again, they're not banking on your comfort coming from the insole. They're banking on a comfort coming from the dynamic air. So All right, I'll give them that. Because the shoe actually is comfortable, so I'm not gonna complain. I'm just letting you know that we can do better than this in all shoes. At the rear of the sneaker and our heel, we're gonna have a nice heel cup. It has kind of this, what's the word I'm looking for? Like satin finish. It's like kind of rubberized satin finish on it, where you're gonna have your Air bubble or your Air Max bubble with the dynamic Air branding, which is a play off the Tuned Air branding, which is one of my favorite logos, and I love how they have it there. And that's gonna bring you down to, of course, what we talked about, the midsole, outsole area. Now the outsole we didn't quite get into, and guys, do not judge me. I know I should have probably broken out the cleaner to get the outsoles clean first, but yeah, I didn't. But if you guys need to clean anything, shameless plug, because I'm working with Rejuvenator right now. So I'll have a code down below. You guys can use it to get 10% off your first purchase. So you don't have dirty outsoles if that's something that bothers you. So you guys can definitely use my code to get your shoes clean. So again, gotta throw a plug in there every so often. But the outsole itself is going to be a translucent violet outsole, which I really like that. Clear purple outsole is really cool. I hadn't seen one before. And I like how that looked. This is gonna be what's the color of the sneaker? It is Persian violet, which we've seen in the Air Max models of the past, of course, that color. But you'll see again, we have our outsole, which is gonna be very like hilly. That's the word I want to use a lot. So it protrudes in every point where there's an Air Max bubble or dynamic air bubble. The traction almost reminds me of like mechanical, like I don't know, looks very mechanical, the design. But they feel good, man. Again, I definitely give this sneaker a good grade. I don't know what that grade is, but it's definitely a good grade. I like it. I like wearing it. It is one that, again, I was very pleasantly surprised at. And I cannot remember the price point. I will put it on the screen for us to see. I think it's $180, but again, it will be on the screen. And there are a lot of different colors available. Nike's gonna drop the bottom out and just put out a bunch of colors with these. So definitely keep an eye out for them. I'm sure they're gonna drop in price as well eventually. That's typically what happens. There'll be a sale or a coupon code of Nike where hopefully you don't have to buy them full price. But I would say go true to size on these. They fit pretty nice. They're not super snug. They fit pretty comfortable. And it's definitely a sneaker I recommend. It's one of those things that's like, hey, are you looking for the newest Air Max? Are you looking for just something to jump into on your day-to-day? I think this is the perfect shoe for that. If you're more into the classic Air Maxes, wait for them to go on sale. See if you like it. Or go try it on. See if you like it. But it's one of the ones I'm glad I did try it out, because I would have missed out. And with me doing a lot of running around, this is one that's easy to put on. And like I say, it looks good too. Something different. So again, I'm pretty positive about this one. Not gonna be everyone's favorite, but I think it's definitely worth a look if you're looking at a new shoe. So let me know what you guys think of it. If you like it, do you not like it? Let me know down in the comments, guys. Until next time, see ya.